The 2026 NHL Draft is only a little over a month away, and for the Vancouver Canucks, the real work starts now. With Ryan Johnson and the Sedins leading a brand new front office, the Canucks are sitting on the 3rd and 24th overall picks. But if you think they're just going to play it safe, you haven't been paying attention. Draft day movement is coming, and while everyone is, of course, obsessed with the top three, the players who will actually define this rebuild are the ones hiding in the next tier. We're talking about massive 6'5" power forwards, elite right shot defenders, and high ceiling steals that could change the trajectory of this franchise. Today, we're breaking down the 4 specific targets that the Canucks must have on their radar to make this draft a home run. The picks are set, the board is wide open, and the Canucks are ready to make a splash. Let's dive right into it. So we're going to go over an article from our good buddy, Dave Hall, friend of the podcast. We've had him on before, and he dives into the 4 mid-first round options for the Canucks if they trade up or down with their 24th overall pick. The title of his article, 2026 NHL Draft Targets, 4 mid-first round options for the Canucks if they trade up or down. The 2026 draft lottery is officially set, and the Vancouver Canucks' new management group can finally begin narrowing down its approach heading into one of the most important drafts in recent franchise history. As things currently stand, Vancouver holds the 3rd and 24th overall selections in the opening round. Of course, things could very easily change quickly. Draft day movement always feels inevitable, especially with a new front office led by Ryan Johnson, who may very well look to make an aggressive splash at the podium to bolster its newly minted rebuild. We've already worked through the names expected to land within the top 3 conversation. Now attention shifts towards the next tier of players who could become realistic targets should Vancouver move down, add selections, or simply remain patient later in the opening round. Using NHL Central Scouting's final rankings as a guideline, we continue our draft profile series and we'll look at several names who could realistically fall into the Canucks' range later in the first round or early in the second round. First name up is DAXON Rudolph, currently playing for the Prince Albert Raiders. So he is a teammate of Braden Coots. He's a defenseman, 6'2", 206 pounds, shoots right. He had 28 goals and 50 assists in 68 games played. His Central Scouting final rank is number 5 when it comes to their North American skater list. If you're someone who values offensive production from the back end, DAXON Rudolph immediately becomes one of the easier bets within this next tier. The Prince Albert Raiders defender erupted offensively this season, finishing with 78 points in 68 games, while leading his club in scoring and placing 3rd among all WHL defensemen. He doubled down in the playoffs where Rudolph co-led the entire WHL postseason with 27 points in just 18 games. Let that sink in for a sec. While helping guide Prince Albert to the league final against the Everett Silvertips, where, of course, as we know, they ended up losing to the Silvertips. Between the numbers, frame, and handness, it is easy to understand why scouts remain intrigued by his profile. After all, big, mobile, right shot defenders with offensive instincts will always carry value at the podium. In transition, Rudolph is extremely comfortable carrying the puck himself, using strong edge work and fluid skating mechanics to create controlled exits and entries. He distributes effectively from the backhand, quarterbacks the power play naturally, and carries a long history of scoring goals from the back end. There are stretches where he genuinely looks like a future top-pairing offensive defender capable of driving play from the blue line. The reason he falls slightly outside the top tier of defenders in this class likely comes down to some fine details in his game that may not be as polished as others ahead of him. There are moments where he forces plays that may not translate as cleanly at the next level, whether that's attempting low percentage passes through layers or trying to beat pressure unnecessarily. There are sequences where you get the sense he's relying on junior level freedom over structure that he may have to address through his transition. Despite standing 6'2" and weighing north of just 200 pounds, his physical game also leaves evaluators wanting more. He does not consistently impose himself in battles along the wall or around the crease, and there are times when he can be outmuscled despite possessing the frame advantage. That said, physical engagement is often one of the more teachable elements for young defenders, and the combination of skating, offense, and handiness still makes him a highly intriguing upside swing. At the very least, Rudolph projects as a player with legitimate top four potential and power play utility at the professional level. Next up on this list is TYNAN LAWRENCE, from currently playing for BU for the NCAA. 17 years old, he is a center, 6 foot, 185 pounds, shoots left, had 2 goals, 5 assists in just 18 games in the NCAA for BU. His Central Scouting final rank is 7th among North American skaters. Few players in this year's draft class experienced a larger swing in perception than TYNAN LAWRENCE. At one point earlier in the season, Lawrence firmly sat in the top 5 conversation and looked like one of the safer center projections available near the top of the board. Since then, however, his stock has cooled considerably, while names such as Caleb Malhotra and Viggo Bjork have skyrocketed up the ranks. The New Brunswick native suffered a lower body injury just before the year began, delaying the start of his draft season entirely. When he returned to the USHL with the Muskegon Lumberjacks in December, he looked surprisingly unaffected by the missed time, collecting 17 points, 10 goals, 7 assists in just 13 games, while immediately reestablishing himself as a dangerous two-way presence. Just weeks into the season, he made a rather unique decision and chose to make the jump to the NCAA and join BU for the second half of the season. It was a bold move for a draft-eligible player, especially one reassimilating himself in a return from injury. Ultimately, the transition came with mixed results, as Lawrence recorded just 7 points, 2 goals, 5 assists in just 18 games, as we mentioned. While there were flashes late in the year with 6 of his points coming in the final 5 games, his offensive production never fully took off. Still, there were enough positive signs to maintain intrigue. Lawrence finished tied for second on Team Canada at the U18 World Championships with 6 points in 5 games. While he did not dominate the event, as some had hoped, from a projected top 10 pick, he showed many of the same habits that made scouts excited for him in the first place. His game is built on detail, pace, and intelligence away from the puck. Lawrence consistently disrupts plays, pressures puck carriers, and anticipates developing sequences extremely well. His defensive awareness and compete level form the backbone of his projection, and his skating and playmaking only strengthen that profile. He moves well in transition, tracks responsibly, and consistently puts himself in strong support positions. Offensively, Lawrence may never become a dynamic top-line producer, but there is enough 200-foot upside to project meaningful value. He attacks the middle of the ice, can generate chances off the rush, and has shown flashes of finishing touch and playmaking ability. While the upside may no longer scream franchise center, there remains a very real path for Lawrence to develop into a highly effective middle six pivot capable of playing difficult minutes. Next up, we have Ethan BELCHETZ. Currently playing for the Windsor Spitfires of the OHL, he's 18 years old, a left winger, 6'5", so here's that 6'5" that we mentioned earlier, 228 pounds, shoots left. In 57 games, he had 34 goals and 25 assists. His Central Scouting final rank is 9th among North American skaters. It's going to be hard to ignore a player like Ethan BELCHETZ on day one of the NHL draft. At 6'5" and well over 220, the Windsor Spitfires winger immediately draws attention simply based on his frame. Add in soft hands, legitimate scoring touch, and flashes of high-end skill, and it becomes easy to understand why NHL teams remain fascinated by his upside. By the way, if you guys want, I did a prospect profile on Ethan BELCHETZ. You guys can check that out right up here. Or up here. BELCHETZ enjoyed a progressive OHL season as a second-year skater, finishing 4th on Windsor in scoring with 59 points in 57 games, before a broken clavicle cut his year short. Despite the injury, he showed enough offensively to reinforce why he remains one of the more polarizing upside swings in the top half. For a player his size, his puck skill is remarkably smooth. He handles the puck comfortably through traffic, creates space using his incredible reach, and can beat defenders one-on-one, combining that reach and touch rather than pure explosiveness. While he's a complete handful at the net front, collecting tap-in and rebound goals aplenty, BELCHETZ also possesses a dangerous release from distance that makes him a threat in a variety of offensive situations. Despite his massive frame, however, BELCHETZ does not always play with the aggression or force that teams would ideally like to see from a player built like a modern power forward. There are stretches where he settles around the perimeter rather than driving through defenders or imposing himself physically. If he eventually learns to consistently utilize his size and strength while maintaining his offensive touch, the ceiling becomes extremely exciting. His skating also remains a work in progress, which is not uncommon for players with his frame. He likely never projects as a high-end skater, but even with average mobility, the combination of size, skill, and finishing ability creates a very enticing package. Lastly, we have Adam Novotny, currently playing for the Peterborough Petes of the OHL, 18 years old, also a left winger, 6'1", 205 pounds, shoots left. In 58 games, he had 34 goals and 31 assists. His Central Scouting final rank is number 14 among North American skaters. Adam Novotny is a player who has quietly remained on Dave Hall's radar for much of the season. When projecting middle six power forwards capable of contributing offensively, his profile checks a lot of boxes. The Czech winger made the jump to North America after being selected 9th overall in the 2024 CHL import draft and wasted little time adjusting to the OHL game. On a rebuilding Peterborough squad, he led the team in scoring as a rookie with 65 points in 58 games, immediately establishing himself as one of the more productive first-year imports in the league. What stands out most in his game is the blend of competitiveness and scoring ability. Novotny thrives on the forecheck, consistently pressuring defenders into making mistakes and battling through contact to extend possessions. While he doesn't possess an overwhelming physical frame, he plays with enough strength and determination to win pucks, protect possession, and work his way into difficult areas of the ice. Offensively, his shot is the clear driver of his projection. He carries one of the better releases in this year's class, capable of beating goaltenders from distance or finishing quickly off the rush. That scoring touch gives him legitimate power play upside at the next level. While his playmaking leaves a bit to be desired, he has shown flashes of making quick reads and supporting plays effectively once defenders begin to respect his shot. His skating projects as average rather than dynamic, but there are a few glaring concerns in his overall toolkit. He plays with enough pace to stay involved, and his motor consistently helps elevate the effectiveness of the rest of his game. Defensively, he competes hard, tracks back responsibly, and is willing to sacrifice for his team. Overall, Novotny feels like a relatively safe projection to become a middle six winger capable of contributing secondary offense, providing special teams value, and bringing an honest, hard-working style that coaches tend to trust when the going gets tough. And that is the end of that article. Let me know what you guys think about these 4 potential sleepers for the Vancouver Canucks and that they could potentially steal in the draft, whether they move up or move down. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. And of course, as always, I'd like to shout out and thank the sponsor of this video, none other than, of course, DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NHL. The Stanley Cup playoffs are here, and DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NHL, has a new customer offer. When the ice gets coldest, the best players in the world show you exactly who they are. Playoff warriors turn it up round by round, and DraftKings turns it up with them from the first round all the way to the Stanley Cup final. Bet player props, bet live from the opening faceoff to the final horn. Every moment matters. New DraftKings customers bet just $5 and you'll get $100 in bonus bets instantly. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use code THPN so you're ready for the moment. That's code THPN. Turn $5 into $100 in bonus bets instantly in partnership with DraftKings. The crown is yours.
Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or 1-800-MY-RESET. New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY. Connecticut, call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino in Kansas, wager tax pass-through may apply in Illinois. 21 and over in most states. Void in Ontario. Restrictions apply. Bet must win to receive bonus bets which expire in 7 days. Minimum odds required. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see sportsbook.draftkings.com/promos. Limited time offer.
Thank you guys for watching. If you enjoyed this video, on your way out, you can like the video and subscribe to The Line Change for more Canucks and draft-related content. You can also become a member of The Line Change to receive exclusive perks as well as members-only videos. Also, early access to videos such as like this one. That is another perk that you get by becoming a member of The Line Change. Once again, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video.